Welcome back, students. Hope you are safe and healthy at home. Dear students, in today's session, we shall take up writing an analytical paragraph. This is a new concept being introduced this year by the CBSE board. So, what do you mean by an analytical paragraph? So, dear students, analytical writing is a form of descriptive writing which is written on the basis of a given chart, graph, data, outline, clues, table, etc. It requires analysis and comparison of the given facts and drawing conclusion based on the given data. So, writing an analytical paragraph, one should remember to describe the facts in the best possible manner and cover the information provided. Next one. The paragraph must be clear and crisp language along with providing complete details of the data provided in the question. Next. So, dear students, what are the features of an analytical paragraph? It describes the given chart, table, data, graph, cues, etc. It should be brief and comprehensive, but at the same time include complete information. Next, it should state the facts that are provided. It should have simple and accurate language. It should mention figures and quantities appropriately. It should use the same tense throughout as far as possible. So here this analytical paragraph makes difference from other writing. For example, you are well versed in writing story writing. So in story writing, according to the context, we change the tense. But here, in analytical paragraph writing, should use the same tense throughout as far as possible. It should not provide any personal observation or response. So here, there is no room for inserting or writing down or expressing a personal observation or response. It's purely based on the data provided. So you should preferably use the passive form of the verb. Next, format of an analytical paragraph. So what is the format? So there are formats followed in almost all the writing skills like letter writing, story writing, etc. Here we have a format for writing an analytical paragraph. First, introduction. So the introduction should have, the introduction is the first paragraph that should describe in brief what the graph is about. So it should be like an opening paragraph that introduces the reader to the context of the chart given. Next, while writing the introductory paragraph, you need not go into the details. You just need to mention what is clearly evident from the chart or the graph given in the question. It is best to write the introduction in one or two lines. So here, we are going to provide the details in the body of an analytical paragraph. Not here. Here you are just going to introduce the topic in the introductory paragraph, and you just need to mention clearly what from the chart or graph what is given in the question. Next, we can start with phrases such as the chart given above describes, the table suggests, the line graph shows, the data given provides information about. So these are the words or phrases you can use to introduce. You can also call it a topic sentence. An introductory paragraph can have all these phrases in order to uplift the language, and also in order to beautify your language you can use these phrases. Next, second one, the introduction is over. The second step, the second level, that is body of the paragraph. Explain in detail the figure and trends, making comparison and contrast. So here you are going to explain in detail, not in the introductory paragraph. We should organize the information well. So all the information, whatever information you have collected, you need to organize it logically in an orderly manner. We should look for the differences that are very prominent. So we need to identify the differences and write it down. We can mention the aspect which is the smallest or the largest in the data given. So all the minute details need to be provided, because you will be provided with the data or a chart. So there you need to pay attention to all the aspects, the smallest or the largest. Any aspect similar should be mentioned next. You can write all the relevant or related points there. We should further mention about the aspect that has remained unchanged or is constant throughout. Next, hope you have understood this point. If the chart or table mention two different groups, we should refer to both of them in the paragraph. So, if you are provided with the chart or table mentioned in two different groups, in order to do the comparison, you need to refer to both of them in the paragraph. Come on now. Here, the body can be broken into 2 or 3 sub-paragraphs depending on the information extracted from the graph. So, since we are in the paragraph writing, the content part of the analytical paragraph, so breaking the body into sub-paragraphs make it easy for the reader to understand. So, you are going to split the paragraph into number of sub-paragraphs. So, under sub-paragraphs, you can have points of headings like organizing information. You should look for the large differences that are very prominent. You can mention the aspect which is the smallest or the largest in the data given. So, any aspects that are similar should be mentioned next. You should further mention about the aspect that has to remain unchanged or constant throughout. So here I already mentioned you need to pay attention to all the aspects, smallest or the largest, which is provided in the data. Next, comparing information. If the chart mentions two different parties, for example men and women, refer to both of them in the analytical paragraph. If there is any contrast or comparison that could be drawn, you must present it effectively. If the chart is about a particular time period or highlights trends of several years, mention each year in a concise manner, in a clear manner. If any comparison or contrast can be done for 2 or more years, you should write about it too. So, dear students, you need to compare. If any comparison or contrast can be done, you need to write it about it also. Mentioning quantities. When including numbers and figures, their accuracy must be ensured. There are a number of ways that can be used to describe quantities. for example, percentage, fraction, ratios, etc. So you need to mention the quantities in this format. Next, connecting sentences. So if different information or ideas are there, you should use connectors or linking phrases to link them logically. The sentences of the paragraph should be sequential and connected rationally. So yeah, you need to connect the paragraph as well as the sentences also. So as you connect each paragraph, the connectivity we maintain, we also need to maintain connectivity with regard to sentences, because a reader must be able to understand your analysis very clearly without any doubts. So you need to provide all the informations in a logical manner and in a sequential order. So the sentences of the paragraph should be sequential, arranged in order. That's the meaning of sequential, and connected rationally. The the point should be interconnected. It should not be isolated from the previous points or the next points. You need to connect it to give very clear information, so that whatever the analysis you have done, it reaches out to the reader very clearly, and they'll be able to understand your analysis. Next, so the last part of analytical paragraph writing is conclusion. So what are the points you need to bear in mind in the conclusion paragraph? So the last paragraph should summarize the idea mentioned and the information in general. So it should be concluding in nature and act as the closing statement. One should keep in mind that one must not include any personal opinions, conclusions, or observations. So when after the body of analytical writing, you need to summarize the idea mentioned, and you need to bear in mind that you don't include personal opinions or conclusions or observe. Purely it should be based on the data provided for the analysis. Next, you should simply stick to the facts. So it is a fact factor here. Here we need to you need to do analysis on the facts provided. We need not dispose of the information or to write a good analytical paragraph. The key is to choose wisely the important information, organize it well, state correct facts, and summarize it properly. So here you need to provide the information wisely, organize it, and state correct facts. So it should have authenticity. So the data should be accurate, and it should it should be authentic, and summarize it properly. We may use words and phrases like overall, subsequently, in a nutshell, in short, therefore, etc. So these are the phrases which you can use to connect the sentences in the conclusion, the last paragraph. Next. So what are the useful tips for writing an analytical paragraph? First, for an introduction, you can start with the following phrases. The chart given above describes. So these are the sentences or statement or phrases you can use. The chart given above describes. The table suggests. The line graph shows. The data given provides information about. The pie chart illustrates, etc. So these are the phrases you can use to write analytical paragraph. For describing trends, you can use phrases and words like a pattern of growth, rapidly doubled, skyrocketed, striking increase, peaked, soaring rates, decline, leveled off, stagnated, fluctuate, starting to rise, starting to fall, drop down slightly, etc. So these are the words you can use to describe trends. Next, For describing quantities, what are the phrases you can use? Use various styles like 48% off, one third off, nearly one fourth off, almost 80%, majority, on average, twice as much, almost equal, the highest, the lowest, very close to 2%, roughly, approximately 5% off, just under 3%, etc. So these are the phrases you can use to describe quantities. Next, for establishing a relationship or contrast. So use phrases and words like relationship between, similarly, in contrast with, in comparison to. But in the opposite case, however, whereas, when it comes to, as opposed to, while, striking difference, noticeable difference, etc. So these are the words or phrases you can use for establishing a relationship or contrast. If you want to have want to analyze regarding the contrast or the relationship, you can use these phrases or words. Next, for conclusion and other connecting phrases, use overall, subsequently, in all, in a nutshell, for the chart given, in short, striking changes, including, therefore, etc. So these are the phrases you can use to conclude analytical paragraph writing. So, so now move on to a model analytical paragraph. So, how the question is usually asked in the board exam, and I have provided a model analytical paragraph just for your familiarity. The following table shows details about the difference internet activities for 6 categories of people according to different age groups. Study the table and write an analytical paragraph based upon it in about 100 to 120 words. So these are the informations provided. This is a chart uh, provided. You need to analyze it. So activity percent. What are the activities? Get news, online games. So how people use internet for getting news, online games, downloads, product research, buying a product, searching for people. So teenagers, how much do they use? Then the people, those who are in 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70 plus. So the information, the data is very clear here. You need to observe it, and how many people use internet to get news. Teenagers 76, 20s, those who are in 20 age in around 20s 73, 30s 76, 40s 75, then 50s 71, 60s 74, then 70 plus 70. So like this you can very clearly observe it, analyze it, then start writing your analysis. So this is the answer for the question, a model question. Let me read the answer. How the analysis is being done on the basis of the table given. The given table suggests the internet activities of 6 age groups ranging from teens to those in their 70s for 6 different kinds of activities on the internet. The table shows that the younger generation is more interested in online games and news, whereas the older generation spends time on the internet in order to research and buy products. It is evident from the table that 81% of the teens mainly use the internet for playing online games, and many are also interested in news and downloads as well as in buying products. The middle age group, that is, people in the age group ranging from 20s to 60s, is highly interested in getting news, doing product research, and buying products. With the percentage ranging from 70 to 80%, the internet activity which gets the least time is searching for people. All the age groups spend less than 30% of their internet time on the same. The amount of time spent on downloads decreases with the age and gets as low as 6% for the people in 70s. Overall, the table suggests that teenagers are most likely to spend time playing games and doing downloads. On the other hand, so they have used the phrases here. On the other hand, older people, on an average, are interested in researching and buying products. It is also significant to note that people spend the least amount of time when it comes to searching for other people online. So, this is a model answer on the model question. So, what are the points you need to remember? We must not include any personal opinions, conclusions, or observations, but simply stick to the facts. So, yeah, I have already told you, you must not include your personal opinions. Clearly, you need to stick to the facts, the data, the informations provided um, in the form of table, pie chart, or flow chart. So, anything. So, on that basis, you need to write your analysis. Next, we must choose wisely the important information, organize it well, state the correct facts, and summarize it properly. So, you need to write down all the informations, whatever you get from the table, from the data provided. Then you need to organize it logically. Then paragraph should be interwoven, connectivity should be there. Then you need to finally summarize it properly in the conclusion or in the last conclusion paragraph. So these are the points you need to remember in order to write um, an analytical paragraph. So dear students, if you have any doubt with regard to analytical paragraph writing, you can ask me over the phone or during our online discussion class. Thank you.